Thank you for joining us for this episode of Frog Talk, an Auction Frogs podcast series all about events and fundraising in a post-2020 world. For more information on Auction Frogs and the services we offer, visit auctionfrogs.org today.
Hi there, I'm Corey Michaels, and this is Frog Talk, your leap into fundraising. Today, joined by Steve with the Scott Esplin Foundation. Now, this virtual event was actually the very first fundraising event that they did for this. And because of the timing, it had to be virtual. And it was very different than any of the other events that we did all year, but it was a lot of fun and it was a fabulous success. This, yes, was to raise money for the Scott Esplin Foundation, but it was also to memorialize your friend.
Yeah.
And so there was actually 2 live segments, a whole lot in between, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a blast with it, and I think, before we were, doing the podcast here and talking here, we were talking a little bit about. I think it went so much better being a virtual event the first time because we would have tried to do all the things you normally do.
Yes,
and they sometimes work and they sometimes don't when you try to get together and do a first time get together for a foundation, and our foundation is it's a different kind of foundation. And so I think it actually gave us more reach to do it virtually the first time.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, why don't you give us a little bit of the background on Scott and how the Scott Esplin Foundation came about?
Yeah. So Scott Esplin was one of my very best friends and a great friend to our friend group. We have a very close friend group, and we lost Scott very unexpectedly at the age of 42. And so we were trying to figure out how do we, Scott was a very giving and loving person and a great friend. And he was a track coach. He donated his time. He wasn't married, didn't have kids. And so he really liked to help anybody he could and athletes. And so we were trying to figure out how we do something to really keep Scott's memory and what he did for people alive. And so we founded this foundation, the Scott Esplin Memorial Scholarship Foundation, for partial scholarship kids to help complete their scholarship to college. Because so many of them get partial scholarships and then can't go because they can't get the rest of the money. And he was in that position too himself. So we thought that would be a great way to continue his love of coaching for kids.
Well, and what a great way to keep his memory alive and his legacy going. And it was a beautiful cause, but obviously in its infancy, a brand new foundation.
Yeah, we it'll actually be 2 years on the 17th of February that we lost him.
So it's it was this beautiful way to be able to honor his memory and also to share great stories and memories and fond times that were spent with what is a wonderful man.
I think ultimately what we ended up doing is having a better production of things that we'll be able to have long-term for other events, whether they're online or in person, and things that we can continue to share. And we were able to have a better production and more of it and more content than we would have put together if we would have gotten together for a live dinner, gala, or whatever we would have tried to do.
Right. Well, now, when did you decide, you and the rest of the committee, okay, well, obviously this is not going to happen, as far as a live event, in-person event. What were you thinking? What made you guys decide to go with your virtual event? And how did you feel through the process?
So we originally were going to do a golf tournament.
Okay.
Because Scott, Scott had a great sense of humor too, and Scott loved to golf, but as he said, golf did not love him. So we thought, golf tournament's perfect. We all love to golf, so let's do that. So we had one scheduled. Then we pushed it from June to September, and then as we got closer to September, we realized this is not going to happen. And even if we do one, we're not going to make any money on it because nobody can really come and hang out afterwards.
Right.
So how can we do something like this? And we started talking about it, and I reached out to Christy and said, hey, here's what we're thinking. how would we do something like this? And she's like, hey, this is what we've been, putting together.
Yeah.
Because we were always trying to figure out Scott's birthday is December 17th. And so he always had Scottmas, and that was what this event was, the 12 days of Scottmas. Yeah. And so we're like, hey, what if we put something together around what he called Scottmas, which was the 12 days before his birthday, including his birthday. And so we said, hey, we could do something. And that's where Christy was like, hey, we could do a live auction. You could have it last for 12 days. We could do this event on the end. And I said, that's great. We need to do a kickoff too, though. And so that's where we came up with, let's do a live kickoff and explain what we're doing. Because there were a lot of people we were telling about, and they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. But we wanted to give the message as a first year that way.
Well, and it was so cool because there was, what was it, about 30 minutes? I think the initial kickoff.
Yeah, just under 30 minutes, I think.
And so 25, 30 minutes. But it got a chance to explain what Scottmas is, who Scott is, and what the foundation is about. And then I'll also introduce what it was going to be about. And then each day, a different item that was carefully picked based on fun and different things that Scott loved or endured, I think.
Correct.
On a few of them.
Exactly. Things that we always made fun of him about, we included in there too. So,
but there was also, then it highlighted a different item that you could be able to bid on. And then it culminated on his birthday with this beautiful tribute to him, and also what the foundation means for hopefully a long time to come.
Yeah, I agree. And it was, having it virtual, recorded, where, it can be seen. It memorializes the first event better than we would have ever been able to do.
What did you learn from doing your first virtual fundraiser event?
It's really interesting. I've been involved in events for a very long time, and I think that's actually how I met Christy years ago, is at some event, and I've brought her into a couple that I've worked on. What I really liked about it is that the reach can be so much more. Even though in a live event, you've got the social aspect of the live event, and you've got your, a lot of times your auction items and those things, and Auction Frog software is great for those events. This allows us to message better, more directly. We can really get it out to the target that we want, and the people who can't come to an event, whether it be they're out of town or they are too sick or whatever it might be, they can still participate.
Yep.
And so I think it's fascinating. We're going to go back to live events someday. And I think that there is a way to do probably a mix, and there might be really a good reason to still do virtual ones. Because they can be so effective and targeted, and like I said, we made far more money for the cause, and are going to be able to get that message out. And the message is still out there, like it's still up. You can still go to the site and you can see what it is, and you can still make a donation, whereas wouldn't be if otherwise.
No, and that's one of the beautiful things, that one of my favorite parts about virtual events is, when I would host or MC a live gala, it was great. It was wonderful seeing everyone, and everyone had energy and lots of money going around for the cause. And then it ended. Yep. And everyone went out to their cars, picked up their silent auction items, whatever, and it was over. With this, it lives on in perpetuity to really be able to continue getting that message out. You can edit down components like you were talking about with videos and other things that you can use for marketing for the fund. It is a phenomenal way to be able to get the word out, and I think it's going to continue to be some part of fundraising for the foreseeable future, if not forever.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's expensive, especially for groups that are starting out, or even smaller nonprofit groups, that are just, like ours, no employees, nobody's running anything, it's all voluntary. You can do it at such a lower cost. And you have specific and easier things you do. It's not the stress of trying to put an event together. It's not the stress of coming up with all the deposits and all the money that you're going to have to do. when you're a smaller organization. That's really tough. And so I think it's the perfect thing. And in any time, whether, we're dealing with a pandemic or we're back to
whatever our new normal is going to be.
Right. Whenever we can go back to actually being, together in a space, I think that I actually hope to see maybe even a hybrid.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're seeing more and more of. And of course, we've already proven that works as well. And so we want to be able to do whatever is going to be best to be able to make sure that you are bringing in the most revenue and the most awareness for your organization. Steve, thanks, buddy, for taking some time.
You're very welcome. And if everybody doesn't know, Corey's a heck of a bartender too. So I appreciate.
I do my best. Thank you.
You did well, and we appreciate all you did for us. Thank you very much.
I was honored.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Frog Talk, an Auction Frogs podcast series all about events and fundraising in a post-2020 world. For more information on Auction Frogs and the services we offer, visit auctionfrogs.org today.